All right, guys. So today we're going to be looking at the curriculum evaluation and my project. Hope you guys like it, and we can get right into it. So yeah, I'm Nate Scott, by the way. If you don't know, here I am. Sweet. So I did Praise Academy School. It's a private Christian school located in Powder Springs, Georgia. It's attached to a church, Praise Tabernacle Church, and it serves grades K through 12, and has a really small student body of around 370. The PE specialist there is Mr. Scott Weishart. One of my friends, Shane Weishart, is his younger brother. He goes to UGA and is a math education major. And the reason I chose this school is because I know Shane, and then Shane was able to put me in contact with his older brother, Scott, so I could evaluate Praise Academy. Mr. Scott is 25 years old. He's been teaching for 2 years, and he got his degree from West Georgia. And he's also the head basketball coach at Praise Academy. And he teaches all the grade level there, every grade level there, I think besides pre-K. So he does elementary, middle, and high school curriculum there. For this evaluation, however, I just wanted to focus on the high school curriculum. I know that they're pretty small, but I want to teach high school one day, and I just wanted to focus. And if we did like a public school, you just focus on the middle school or on the high school. So even though it has all grades, I just wanted to focus on specifically the high school curriculum. So back to getting the description of the program. Yeah, like I said, it's only high school, so it's only 9th through 12th grade curriculum I looked at. They work kind of on a quasi sport education approach. They don't necessarily have like sport education in the fact where they not only do they play the sport, but they have to referee, they have to umpire, the coach, all that kind of stuff. But they don't do any of that. But they do teach all of their physical fitness concepts and all of their movement concepts and stuff like that through sports, and they have them listed, and I'll show you kind of what I mean later on. Just to give you a breakdown of their student population, it's mainly white at 65%. They have 31% black as their next. 4% of them are their students have more than one race, and then they have Hispanic / Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, and a Native American. I also have them, but all of those are less than 1% each. And so I just have those there. What I did not have written down, and my bad, I forgot about it, is the gender breakdown. And it's about 51% female, and 49% male. So they're almost split really even when it comes to their gender. So I just wanted to give you guys a description of their program, description of the students in the program that they're working with. So next, they have a program goals. What they say on their website, and what I want to point out first before I get into their physical fitness program goals, is that they are a private Christian school. So they do say that they hold the Bible and God's word as the ultimate standard, and that regardless of subject or regardless of content, everything would be through the guise of a biblical worldview. So I just want to put that out there so you know that everything they're going to do is going to relate back to their faith in some way. But specifically talking about their physical education program, they want to empower students with the knowledge and skills necessary for developing lifetime fitness and healthy habits. And in the next slide, I'm going to go into actual content that they cover and go over to be able to meet that goal of allowing for a lifetime physical fitness and healthy habits. So the content they go over their personal fitness assessment. They go over the 5 health-related fitness concepts. So, muscular strength, endurance, flexibility, body composition, all those things. Cardiovascular health. Sorry, I couldn't remember the last one. They also go over nutrition, weight control, stress management, and consumer info about what you need to get, and consumer info about how to assess foods and whether they're healthy for you and that kind of thing. And they also promote self-awareness and responsibility for fitness. And so these are their program goals and the content that they use to reach their program goals. Going into the sources of where I got my information for this evaluation, I had 3. So on their school website, they actually have listed, and you were able to identify and look at every single course that is offered for every single grade level at Praise Academy. You can look at their description of the course and what it is, and there I was able to find the goals and objectives of the physical education program there. Specifically for the 9th to 12th grade curriculum. Also in there, you can access the 9th to 12th grade curriculum map. Like I said, you can do it for all grade levels, but the curriculum map, and it gives a general overview of like unit by unit of what they're going to do. I'll actually show you what it looks like on the next slide so you can see what I mean. And then I conducted an email interview with the P specialist, Mr. Weishart there, and he was able to answer a few of my questions. He didn't have any documents for me to have, or I guess look at or access, which I thought was unfortunate. But he was able to answer a lot of my questions, and so yeah, these are my three sources of info. And so here's the curriculum map. So I was talking about. As you can see, it'll have the term, and we're in the first term. They have the second, third, and fourth, but I cut that off because you don't need to see all of that. But it gives you the unit over here. It gives you your objectives and essential questions. Their faith integration. So, as I said earlier, one of their goals is to relate everything they do back to their faith. They have their instructional strategies, which they don't really break down what exactly it is or what they're going to use it for, but they still have it. So that's good. They have their resources. Don't have too many, as you see, but there is at least a category for it. And they also have their assessment. They don't go into what their assessment is, but they at least let you know at the end they're going to have an assessment. So I like that. Some documents that I didn't get that I really wanted was I wanted a copy of the daily lesson plans, and I wanted a copy of the syllabus, and any other documents that Mr. Weishart uses that students don't necessarily have access to or weren't on the website. Unfortunately, I was not able to get those. And so there's some things that when I go over and kind of critique that maybe there is and maybe that is provided, I just didn't know it because I wasn't able to access it, unfortunately, because we all know of the pandemic. But we'll evaluate based on what I was able to gain. So for the accuracy analysis portion, I kind of broke it down into the positive and negatives of both. So what I observed from the curriculum, I was accurate and did have appropriate terminology. They always use stuff like physical education class, modified games, skill development, that kind of thing, which I really appreciated and thought was good. And they also identify within, I don't know if you saw it on the curriculum map, but in other places too, they identify where their content and where their lessons align with the national and state standards. So I thought that's a really good way for them to kind of show and prove that what they're saying is accurate and reputable. And also they always relate their content back to their faith. And so I thought that helps make their classes more relevant to life outside of classroom and life after graduation. And I thought that was good for those that choose to believe in Christianity and everything. But also thought that was all really good stuff. But moving on to the negatives, I thought that the biggest thing in my gripe or biggest critique and complaint about the thing I was able to gather is that I felt like everything in the curriculum was really lacking in depth. Again, it could be that it was there and I just never had access to it because I wasn't able to go in person and see some things and also gather documents from Mr. Weishart in person. But the curriculum map, as I was saying, does have the instructional strategies, but then it never explains how they're going to use them or what that actually looks like for the unit that they're in. And also, there's no mention of safety as they're defined anywhere, any safety standards. I hope that they have some, but I wasn't able to access any of them. And also, of all the documents I looked at, there was no pictures or graphs, diagrams, videos, any other visual or just extra learning, extended tools and concepts for me to be able to understand what exactly they're teaching. And then also, only one resource is listed for the entirety of their curriculum. It is a reputable one. Yeah, it's the Cooper Institute. They're a nonprofit research organization that tries to use their research to be able to, for educational purposes and use educational tools better because of the research that they discover. But there's only one. I doubt that's the only one resource that they use for their curriculum. And the biggest thing, sorry, again, I don't have it listed here, but the biggest thing I don't understand is there were no assessment tools. They mentioned that they were going to have an assessment, but it doesn't tell me how that assessment works. Whether they're going to use a rubric, a skill test, a skill checklist, student assessment, observation. There was no mention of how assessment was going to go down. And that was probably the biggest negative in general of the curriculum I looked at, but something I definitely wanted to mention and something I feel like really needed to be there that was not. Not finally, but I guess moving on to acceptability analysis, they are a private Christian school. So everything they have and all their values and all their beliefs are going to be applied to, their faith and their Christian beliefs. So I guess you could argue that some of their things are inherently biased or discriminatory if you're not of the Christian faith, but they are a private school and parents do have to choose to send their students to that school and they pay for it. So I guess I just want to have that disclaimer there, but moving on outside of the faith aspect of their curriculum and faith aspect of their school, I thought their curriculum was fair and provided equity for all the students to be able to learn, equally and to be educated, physically educated, and I thought that was really good. Also, as it mentions earlier in their statement for the school, that all the teachers are familiar and knowledgeable with the state and national standards of PE. And they said their goal was to include the state and national standards, but also build upon that and have their own standards built in on top of their curriculum, so that they were adhering to all the state and national standards, but also their students were learning and adhering to the standards they had set for themselves. And so for that reason, I think they do kind of line up with the school, the parents, and the community, and everything else. Now, again, I wasn't able to actually go in person to be able to see if they were adhering to their goals and look at their assessments and stuff like that. This is probably the most hindered section due to COVID-19, unfortunately. And this is really what I asked Mr. Weishart about. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take his word for it. I don't think he would lie to me. But this is what I've discovered. He says that during the closure of their lessons, they always try to relate their lessons back to biblical concept, usually using a verse. I think this goes to adhering to their goal of in their entire school of the biblical worldview. They do have a pre and post fitnessgram and BMI to assess personal fitness throughout the year. I know that from what I understood, he was not saying that it was like a goal to necessarily improve within the year, but they did that for the students to have an understanding of how to assess their personal fitness so they could improve it or see where they're at. If they like where they're at, they want to get better, or whatever, which would help them as they graduate in life be able to assess their personal fitness. They also have to make a portfolio where they add all their activities of personal fitness and personal physical fitness outside of the school and during school, so that one day they can help make their own plan. And in the health portion of the class, he says they are taught and tested on the 5 related health-related physical fitness concepts, nutrition, and then mental and emotional health, although that's really minimal. Again, I don't know how all that looks, but that's what Mr. Weishart told me, and obviously I believe him. So in conclusion, I would say that overall it is a very good program. It adheres to the standards they have set forth for themselves. They make their content relevant to their students, and I believe their content, at least what is there, is accurate and aligns with standards. However, I think that what is there needs to be more. Yes, what is there is accurate, but I think there should be more there because I don't think there's a lot of depth. There's no pictures or diagrams or anything else to help you explain or understand, the concepts they're talking about. There's no serious breakdown of what your lessons are going to look like. It just gives you the general overview from the curriculum map. Again, this is kind of why I wanted to get my hands on a daily lesson plan and a syllabus, but unfortunately I was not. So I'm just working with what I have. And again, I can't believe there's no mention of assessment tools. I think that's a big, just gaping hole. I think that's really the biggest thing. If I had to change anything about the curriculum that I don't understand is I need to know what the assessment tools are, because you can't have curriculum and not add the assessment. So there's that. But they also only have one PE class. It's the required class that all their, when you're a freshman, you come in and take, and it's the basic PE portion. That could be due to funding or other things why they don't have more physical education classes. But I hope, just for a suggestion for the future, if they are able to add more classes so that physical education can improve in the school and into the future, if at all possible. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Hope to see you guys back in Athens soon. Be safe, and peace out, guys.